Alright, welcome back. Here we go, another how-to video. This one is actually sponsored by Barlow's. I had reached out to them and asked them, because I was on their website and I was looking at the different swim bait molds, particularly the ripper molds. And I originally bought this 3-inch ripper mold by Do It Molds. This is the 5-cavity cast aluminum 3-inch ripper mold. And I was looking and I came across this CNC 3-inch ripper mold. And here you go. As you can see, it's only one cavity, 5 cavities, 1 cavity. The huge difference is, though, this is like a little under $50 for 5 cavities. This single cavity. So I asked them, what is that? Is there a, is there an error? Is there a price error that is showing a typo on the website? The answer was no. So what they explained, and what I'm here to hopefully educate you all on so you understand the difference, is I was actually completely wrong in the first few videos where I was making the ripper swim baits. I was calling these CNC machined aluminum, and half that's only correct. So these, again, this is a cast aluminum mold, and this is the CNC aluminum mold. So what they do for these cast ones is they actually have hard baits that they set in place, and then they cast or pour this aluminum over those, and then as you can see they smooth it out. But it's 2 separate pieces, so they take the whole bait, put it in, pour the aluminum around it, and therefore it's then cast. Similar to just like what my plaster molds are, my do-it-yourself plaster molds for swim baits and whatever. It's cast plaster molds. So these are same thing, poured with aluminum for cast molds. This one, on the other hand, completely different story. So this is actually the 3-inch ripper design in a software that they then put into a CNC cutting machine. And so when they put that software and they have this they go by half. So they take this whole, so it originally looked like this. It's a whole aluminum block. Then they put it in, and the machine with the software, it etches out or cuts out this entire piece of aluminum into the half swim bait mold that you see here. Then once that one's done, they put this one in the machine and it reads the other half and etches or cuts out all this as well. So the reason for the cost difference is this one being cast, okay, you could see it maybe you can't see in here, but I'll show you once I do the examples. It's not a perfect mold. There's little flaws in it, little pits and whatnot. Whereas a CNC mold, it's 100% perfect and smooth. And again, I don't know if you could see it, but it etches exactly what is into the design. So there are no flaws, no impurities. And again, the reason for it being almost double the price is because of the labor and the technology required to make these versus that. So what I'm going to do now for the rest of the video is I'm going to actually pour these molds. So these are both injection molds. You can see from the top here and the tops here that these are injection molds. They do have CNC pour-in molds for like worms and whatnot, but for this example, these are both injection molds. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have some purple swim baits I need to do. And if you followed my channel at all for the last couple years, I am very fond of purple swim baits and mixing those into my natural silver or natural pearl white colors. It tends to get bit when you have this little purple. I think fish see purple really well. And so I'm going to make a couple. I'm going to do a full 5 out of this one, 1 or 2 in this CNC aluminum one with this Barlow's Tactical Color Shift Powder Violet Brass. Okay, so first what you're going to need, I don't need both of these Pyrex glasses, but or Anchor Hawking. But I'm gonna do purple, and then you're gonna need, of course, the molds. You're gonna need your plastic. I use the original MF manufacturing, the original floating liquid plastic, the saltwater plastic formula, and this is product number 7132SW for saltwater. So this is an extra stiff plastic that is for very toothy or very aggressive fish such as halibut, bass. You can get away with like freshwater bass and whatnot that aren't very toothy or don't bite the tails off. You can go with either the medium or a softer formula. But with, you know, ocean and having very salty or a very toothy fish, I use the saltwater formula. So again, you need those three things. I'm gonna bring here in a moment. I'll put the microwave on here. Then you're gonna need clamps, and that's, again, you're gonna want to be able to clamp these molds shut so that way the plastic doesn't seep out. And then I use ice cold water. As soon as I'm done pouring them, I pull them out of the molds. I put them in ice cold water to really cure them. So without further ado, give me a moment. I'll get the microwave and get everything set up. Next time you see it, I'll have that, and I'll be showing you how to mix the plastic, mix the color, and then we'll do 3-inch ripper molds on both the cast aluminum and CNC aluminum. All right, hold tight. Okay, so I'm gonna do my very best to go slow, not slow as possible, but slower than my normal videos, and not try to rush this so I can be very specific. So fingers crossed. All right, so what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna take this saltwater formula. Make sure that before you use it, you shake it for at least a minute or so. Now, I don't use a lot of plastic when I pour. I'll pour, like, when I do it around, maybe 15 to 20 at most swim baits at a time. And that usually, for the 3-inch, I can get away with about 1/2 to 3/4 cup. So that's about what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pour into this Pyrex type glass. I'm gonna pour in about 1/2 cup, right? Okay, that's fine. Now, a lot of people, and I used to do this too. I don't particularly like how it turns out, so I've started doing my own thing. Most people heat the plastic up and then put the color in afterwards, but it just, for me, it gets really messy. I don't like doing it that way. So what I've started doing is I actually add the color into the plastic while it's still in its unheated form. You don't need a lot. I don't know what this purple looks like yet. It's my first time trying it, but I don't want it to be really bright, so we'll try. You can always add more, but I'm gonna add about that much into it. Maybe a little more. I don't mind the darkness on the purple. Plus it's brass, so it'll have a little bit of an orange tint to it, I guess. If you'd call that, well, brass is its own color, but so you can see it unmixed. It's got some of that brass color in it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mix it now. And I guess I'll pull it back and show you. But when you do it, when it's heated, all that plastic, all that plastisol gets stuck onto the screwdriver or whatever you're mixing with it, or mixing it with, and it just gets sticky and pulls all over the place. So that's why I like to mix it in here while it hasn't been heated up yet. So you can see it does have a purple tint to it, but it's not quite that purple color that we're desiring because we haven't heated up yet. Okay, all right, so I've gone ahead and mixed that in there. I'm gonna go ahead and get the plastic off here. All right, now we can go ahead and heat this up. So for me, when I'm mixing my plastic, I mix it, you know, if it's 1/2 cup, I'll start with about a 2-minute initial heat and then take it out, and then extra 30-second increments until it's at the temperature and until the consistency that I want. If it was anything less than a 1/2 cup, I'd probably start it at 1:30. If it's anything around a cup, I'd probably do 2.5 minutes to start. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here for, actually I'll do 145 just to make sure I don't burn it. So let's see, cook time 145, start that. Okay, now for the, again, I'll start with the cast aluminum. So what you want to do, because this is a wide one, you want to crimp, use some crimpers or some clasp or whatever you want to call it, and you're going to do both sides, the left side and the right side. Okay, so I'll go ahead and crimp that there, or clasp that there. I'll go ahead, take another one over here. Okay. Excellent. And this, what the clasp do is it prevents the plastic from squirting out of the sides, right? So you push, you're using pressure with this injection mold, and as you push in, if it's not crimped together, it'll go through and spread out through the creases, since it's a two-piece mold. So with this, a lot of people, when you see them doing injection molds, they actually take the cup of plastic and they put it in like this and then pull it out the top. It gets really messy here. I don't like that. So what I do is I actually pop the top off, pull this down. You can see how the injector part goes down. Then I take my plastic and I pour it in, and then I put this back on, and then I'll do it. It's much cleaner that way. You don't waste as much. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. The initial. Oh, and also, this does give off fumes, so make sure you're using proper ventilation, fan, or doing this outside or whatever, or use a mask. So now that this is heated up, I'm going to go ahead and put my mask on, and the rest of it will be, the rest of what you see will be typed. Okay? Alright, I decided not to go against the mask. I'm just going to use a fan. But a couple things before I actually get started pouring that I found to be very helpful is, if you have, like a heating pad or something, I strongly recommend using that to heat up the injector, as well as the molds, because it just allows that the melted plastic to flow smoother. But since I don't have those, I use a heat gun, and I'm just going to heat up this injector. I'm not going to heat up this. I'm not going to heat up the mold though, just in an effort to speed things up a little bit. But I'll go ahead and heat this up, mostly the inside, but I do heat up the outside. And again, this just allows the plastic, the melted plastic, to stay melted for just a little bit longer, especially when you're pouring five baits, or injecting 5 baits into that. The longer you can keep the plastic melted inside the injector, the better results you're going to get. So I'm just going to heat this up for a little while. Alright, got the fan blowing. Now I'm going to take a look at this plastic again. Alright, got to heat it back up. Let's go for, like I said, another 30 seconds. Alright, let's take a look at the plastic here. Alright, I added a little more purple to it. It wasn't quite as dark as I was wanting it to be. Looking alright. Probably do the trick. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a little bit of black glitter to it, yeah? Alright, we'll give that 45 seconds. Now I'll go get the black glitter and we'll add some of that in when this is done. Alright, let's take a look-see here. Alright. Mix this up a bit. Kind of a light color, light purple, I guess. Not quite the dark that I was hoping for. It's alright, we'll give it a shot. Alright, grab some of this black glitter. Should probably just pour it in. Oh well. I said I was going to go a little slower. Alright. Good. Put the lid on this glitter so it doesn't go all over the place. Actually, I'll just put it over to the side here. Go ahead and mix this black in there. Now, it's not going to make much of a difference because this is a powder. It's not a dye. So it's not going to make a huge bit of difference, but it does add just a little bit of darkness to it throughout the lure, throughout the plastic, so it can give some little bit extra identification and darkness when it's flowing through the water. Alright, so we'll call that good. Alright, so now I'm going to, for the final time, I put this in for 30 seconds as a final heat up, and then I'll go ahead and start injecting. So 30 seconds. Here we go. Alright, let's see what we got here. I did have to open up the garage a little bit. This stuff is just too much for me, even with just the fan on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to go ahead and pour my plastic into here. Okay. Excellent, you can see it's in there. Go ahead and push it up just a little bit, get that closer to the top. Go ahead and put this top back on. Push it up so you can see it coming up the nozzle right there. And go ahead and inject away. Alright, so that's filled. Then you always add a little bit extra in there. Go to this side, the same thing. Push it in. Pull it out, add a little extra into that. Let's put the excess back into the cup. Okay, and I pop that end out so you can get your remaining pieces of plastic back into the cup. Okay. Set that injector aside for now. Go ahead and put this color back into the microwave to keep it as hot as possible. Again, if you have a heat tray, put it back on the heat tray. If you're just using a microwave, put it back in and let it sit for a little while. And with all this plastic, you can tell as it cools, it shrinks. So that's why you put the little, you squirt in a little extra at the top to account for the the shrinkage that this plastic has. So because this is a aluminum mold instead of a plaster mold, this is going to retain heat a lot more. So you have to let the plastic sit in here for a little bit longer before you open it up and pull them out. So you let that sit for probably a minute or two. Go ahead and open it up. There you have it. There's the cast aluminum molds. Alright, so since this is a comparison between cast aluminum and CNC, we're going to show the difference, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Okay. Put these in the ice water. Same with this one. Okay. Put those in the ice water. I'm going to take this excess plastic, put it back into the cup here. It's cooled down enough so I can handle it with my hands now. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that in, start that up for another minute, get that melted back. One big thing to note, if you are using more transparent or translucent colors, like a pearl white or anything that's almost clear, you're going to want to use this heat stabilizer. This is the MF Manufacturing Heat Stabilizer HS16 2-ounce. This will at least help prevent or make the color last a little longer before starting to yellow. But because I'm using pigments, I'm not too worried about the color turning yellow, because the color will override, the purple will override it. But yeah, if you're gonna use any translucent coloring or liquid coloring, you're gonna want to use this heat stabilizer to help prevent yellowing. There is already some of this of that heat stabilizer in the plastic by itself. So now we're gonna go ahead and do this CNC mold. Okay, so again, it's the same thing, 3-inch ripper, single. We're gonna go ahead and crimp this. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put my gloves back on. Okay, get this. Since it's only one mold, I don't have to put very much plastic in this. So I'll go ahead and take this out, make sure it's mixed right. Get that glitter up, mixed in. If you aren't filming and you're making the stuff, I don't care if you have a fan on, strongly recommend wearing like a mask, like one of these respirator masks. If I wasn't filming, I'd have that on, because this stuff is terrible. Just a side note. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead again and pour this in. It should be enough for one plastic. Okay, go ahead and get the lid. Where did I put the top? Where did I put the top? Uh-oh, oh, there it is. All right, get the top, put the top on. Okay, get it out the top. All right, and inject. Okay, make sure it's all the way in. Add some extra to again account for the shrinkage. Squirt the rest back into the cup. Pop that top off. Let that extra fly out. Put that back in there. Put this back in the microwave to keep it heated. And we'll let this dry, or let this set for a couple minutes. All right, that should be good enough. Let's see what we got here. All right, perfect. You see how easy it is coming out of there? All right, cool. So go ahead and cut this off this. All right, take that extra piece, put it back into the cup in there. Okay, let that, I'll just dump that in the water for a moment. All right, let's move it back here. All right, so we can do a full comparison. All right, here we go. Show the difference. All right, so here's the cast aluminum purple. Now I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. There's what it looks like in detail. Little imperfections from the mold itself. Not like they're imperfections, they're just kind of like little divots or little, I don't even know what to call them, just not perfectly smooth. I had made some charcoal ones. Maybe you'll be able to see it better in charcoal, but there's that look. There's that one. Okay, now to the CNC. Okay, it's much smoother. It's nearly perfect. All right, there's the difference. Let's see if we can see the difference. You tell me if you see any difference. I'll even put some light on. See if I can put some more light on this to see. I don't know if that helps at all, but CNC cast aluminum, CNC cast aluminum. CNC, cast aluminum. Can you see the difference? If you can, congratulations. If you can't, that's the point. That's what I want to show, is that most fish aren't going to be able to tell the difference between a cast aluminum and a machined aluminum. Machined aluminum, or yeah, machine, cast. It's a smoother mold for sure. It's a smoother lure. If you can see it, again, great. If you can't, that's okay. But what I'm here looking at with five cavities, and if the only difference in these is one's just slightly smoother, not as perfect, I'm going this one and not the CNC. But if you're selling them and you require them to be, these swim baits to be nearly perfect, then you go with the CNC, but you're going to be out a lot of money. Because again, with only one cavity, it's a perfect mold. It's a perfect, perfect mold, perfect lure. But I haven't experienced the fish noticing the difference between a perfect one and a not so perfect one. But yeah, there you have it. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, you can get both of these at Barlow's. This is the Do It mold, 3-inch ripper, item number 96023, RPR 530. That means this is the item number, this is the ripper, 5 cavities, 3-inch. Okay. This is the CNC CNC machined aluminum mold. And again, not really a difference. Okay. This is going to be a much more cost-effective way to do molds for yourself. But if you do require, again, them to be absolutely perfect, because either you think the fish are going to notice or you're selling them, CNC may be the way to go. But either one, you're going to get the same results. I guarantee you'll get the same results, because I've fished the rig, I've fished my 3, 4, 5 arm rigs, I've fished single swim baits, whatever, with both of these, and I have not noticed any single bit of difference. The only difference is the money out of pocket when you buy the molds themselves. CNC versus cast aluminum, not really a huge difference in terms of look, and definitely not a difference in performance. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or comments in the below in the questions comments section. Other than that, take care, have a great day. Thanks for watching.